Okay, if you've ever stood in like the supplement aisle, just staring at this wall of bottles, wondering which one is actually worth your time, well, you are definitely not alone. The amount of health advice out there today, it's paralyzing. So our mission in this deep dive is to try and cut through some of that noise. We're taking that stack of articles, all the research you might have seen, and boiling it down. We're looking for that one foundational thing, the essential oil in your car's engine. The one thing that if you neglect it kind of slows the whole system down.
And looking at the sources you sent over, yeah, that single essential component really seems to be vitamin D. But what's really fascinating, I think, is the consensus in the research saying we should stop thinking of it as just a vitamin. Functionally, chemically, it acts like a hormone, a steroid hormone, actually, kind of master regulator, impacting systems far beyond what we usually think of.
A hormone. Okay, right. That definitely elevates the conversation, doesn't it? So let's unpack that. Our goal today is to show you exactly why D is so crucial, maybe why deficiency is still such a huge issue, even with the sun out there, and the science behind its big impact, and probably most importantly, what actual steps you can take, how to maybe incorporate the right kind of supplement starting today.
Yeah, for decades, the standard textbook definition of vitamin D's role was pretty straightforward. It helps the body absorb calcium and phosphorus. Absolutely critical for strong bones. That's the classic story.
Right, the bone story. But that feels like just chapter one, doesn't it? If we're calling it a hormone, its job description has to be, well, bigger. Where does its real power start showing up?
Exactly. Its influence spreads way beyond bones. We're talking 3 major areas, really. First, immune support. It directly helps regulate how your immune cells respond. Yeah. Second, mood regulation, and we'll definitely circle back to that in more detail later. And third, muscle function.
Muscle function. Wait, that sounds kind of counterintuitive for something we mostly link with bone density.
It is surprising, yeah. But look at the impact on active people. We saw that anecdote in the source, right?
Yeah.
About the runner.
Oh, yeah, the one who is always struggling with recovery.
That's the one. Constantly dealing with slow muscle recovery, performance dips. When they finally got their vitamin D levels sorted out, they reported this really noticeable improvement. Better muscle strength, faster recovery after hard workouts. So it's not just about the skeleton. It seems to affect the basic ability of muscle cells to contract and then repair themselves.
Okay, so why does it have this massive reach then? We need to get into that cellular reason why it's acting like a hormone.
Precisely. When we say it acts like a steroid hormone, what we mean is it doesn't just float around. It actually travels through your bloodstream, gets inside the nucleus of your cells, and directly influences how your genes are expressed. It's like it carries a powerful set of instructions right into the cell's control center. And here's the fact that really cements its foundational status. Vitamin D receptors. They're found in nearly every single cell in the body. Think of that receptor like a specific docking station. When the vitamin D hormone clicks in, it triggers this internal instruction, like pressing go on certain genes. This universality, this presence everywhere, strongly suggests vitamin D isn't just for one system. It's more like a fundamental signaling molecule for core processes, cell growth, differentiation, survival, everywhere.
Wow. Okay, that is incredible. So if it's tweaking gene expression and cell instructions, it moves way beyond just being a supplement. It's more like a fundamental biological manager.
And if you connect that to the bigger health picture, this widespread influence is probably why the research links having adequate levels to reduced risks of major chronic diseases. We're talking things like cardiovascular health, maybe even certain cancers. And to give you a bit more insight, look at autoimmune disorders. There's a hypothesis that sufficient vitamin D helps regulate T cells, those really important immune cells, by potentially modulating them, maybe stopping them from mistakenly attacking healthy tissue. D could be acting like this internal peacekeeper, sort of reducing inflammatory chaos.
Okay, so if vitamin D influences nearly every cell, acts like this crucial negotiator, the next big question, and yeah, the sources definitely spent time on this, is why? If it's so vital, why are so many people still deficient? Let's tackle that whole sunshine myth.
Yeah, it's the modern dilemma, isn't it? The common idea is, oh, I get enough sun, I should be fine. But relying only on sunlight for vitamin D, it's just unreliable. Often it's plain insufficient for most people, especially in the developed world today. Our bodies are definitely designed to make vitamin D from UVB rays, but modern life has kind of stacked the deck against that process. Think about geography. If you live north of, say, the 35th parallel, or during winter months anywhere, the sun just isn't high enough in the sky. The angle means those crucial UVB rays don't make it through the atmosphere effectively.
Right. And then there's just us, our behavior. We spend so much time indoors now, desks, offices, limiting exposure even when the sun is technically strong enough.
Exactly. And the big irony, sunscreen.
Yeah.
We absolutely should be using it to protect against harmful UV rays and skin cancer risk. But it also completely blocks the specific UVB rays needed for D production. Even a moderate SPF significantly inhibits synthesis. Then you add other factors, like having more skin pigmentation, which naturally requires more sun exposure to make the same amount of D, or even things like air pollution filtering out UVB. It becomes this really complex picture. It shows why deficiency isn't usually some personal failing, but more like a predictable result of how we live now.
So how does your body actually tell you that maybe UV levels are dipping?
The signals can be subtle, right? But they add up and can really impact your daily life. We're talking things like maybe persistent fatigue that you just can't explain, you can't shake it off, or maybe struggling with mood swings more often, or finding yourself catching every little bug that goes around, frequent infections. One of the things that really stood out in the material, I thought, was that personal note. Someone mentioned getting sick every single winter, just constantly run down.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And they said once they started consistent supplementation, suddenly those regular winter colds and flus, they just didn't seem to take hold anymore. That one small change made a huge, tangible difference to their quality of life.
Right. So since relying on the sun is kind of hit or miss for a lot of us, supplementation becomes really key for maintaining those good levels. Now, when you look at supplement labels, you'll usually see two main forms listed, D2 and D3.
Yeah, that can be confusing. D2, D3, how do we choose? Does it matter?
It does seem to matter, yes. The general consensus is to prioritize D3. D2 is ergocalciferol. It's often derived from plants. D3 is cholecalciferol. That's the exact form your own body naturally produces when your skin is exposed to sunlight. And the research overwhelmingly suggests D3 is more effective at actually raising and maintaining your blood levels long term. It's simply the form your body recognizes and seems to utilize best.
Okay, D3 it is. That's the science of what to get. Now let's talk practical reality. Making it happen. I know I've got supplement bottles sitting near my coffee machine, but honestly, it's still easier to forget sometimes. The advice from the sources on habit formation felt really key. The recommendation was basically, make it easy as pie. Pair taking the pill with something you already do every single day without fail, like maybe put the bottle right next to your toothbrush, or next to the coffee maker, or your water pitcher you fill every morning. Attach it to an existing habit.
And here's a really critical technical point, actually, that we absolutely have to stress. Vitamin D is fat-soluble.
Right, not water-soluble like vitamin C.
Exactly. That means it dissolves in fat and your body stores it in fatty tissues. To absorb it properly, you must take it with a meal that contains some fat. Just taking it on an empty stomach with only water, well, you're really reducing how much your body can actually absorb and use. Its efficacy plummets.
Ah, okay. So, skip the quick glass of water routine, take it with breakfast if you have eggs, or maybe avocado toast, or even, like you said, coffee with a splash of real cream or milk. Link the habit to better absorption. That's proper deep dive knowledge right there.
Absolutely. And look, while supplements are often necessary, you can still support your levels through diet a bit. Fatty fish like salmon or mackerel, fortified dairy or plant milks, egg yolks, they all offer a dietary boost.
Good point. Which brings us to something really crucial, and the sources were very clear on this. Risk. Unlike those water-soluble vitamins that your body mostly just flushes out if you take too much, because D is fat-soluble and gets stored, there is a real risk of toxicity if you overdo it.
That's exactly right. It's not common, but it's possible. Excessive supplementation can lead to something called hypercalcemia, basically. Too much calcium building up in your blood. And that can cause symptoms like nausea, vomiting, weakness, maybe excessive thirst, and in severe cases, serious problems like kidney stones or kidney damage.
Okay, that definitely raises the obvious question for anyone listening. How do I know my right dose? Because you see recommendations all over the place, from a few hundred IUs to thousands.
And that's where getting advice from a healthcare professional is just invaluable, seriously. Before starting any new supplement regimen, especially one like vitamin D where there's a potential toxicity risk, you really should talk to your doctor or a qualified practitioner. They can run a very simple blood test. It's called a 25-hydroxy-vitamin D test. That measures your actual current levels. Based on that result, your health status, even where you live, they can recommend the appropriate daily dosage specifically tailored for you. Because everyone's different. Your needs aren't the same as your neighbors. Personalization here is really, really important.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's spend a moment on something fascinating that's getting more attention. The link between this physical hormone and our mental well-being. It often gets overlooked, I think, because people still kind of pigeonhole it as just the bone vitamin.
Yeah, but the research synthesized in the sources really paints a strong picture here. There appears to be a clear correlation, statistically speaking, between low vitamin D levels and a higher prevalence of mood disorders, specifically symptoms related to depression and anxiety. The likely reason, well, remember those vitamin D receptors we talked about being everywhere. They're also found in areas of the brain known to regulate mood and hormone production, things like serotonin pathways. So when D levels are sufficient, it seems to help the whole nervous system function more optimally. Now, we absolutely need to be clear here. Vitamin D is not some magic cure-all for serious mental health conditions. Those require proper clinical support and treatment. But ensuring you have sufficient vitamin D levels looks like a really important supportive measure. It helps in managing overall mental health, maintaining emotional stability. It just underscores that deep holistic connection, doesn't it, between your physical body and your mental state. You really can't fully support one without considering the other.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you listening right now? Well, if you're searching for that one foundational, really versatile element that seems to support almost every aspect of your health, from helping you fight off those winter bugs, maybe improving muscle recovery after exercise, to supporting a more stable mood, and yes, still crucial for foundational bone health. Vitamin D, this master hormone, is a really powerful contender. It definitely demands your attention.
And we just have to reiterate that final message from the sources. Take that step, get tested, find out your actual level, because what works for your friend or what you read online in a general article might not be right for you. Please make that personal consultation with a healthcare professional part of your action plan.
All right, and here's the final thought we want to leave you with today, something to maybe mull over. If it's true that vitamin D receptors are found in nearly every single cell in your body, influencing everything from your bones and muscles to how your immune system behaves, even your emotional stability, how does knowing that deep foundational role maybe change how you think about the simplest elements of your daily nutrition? Just consider how something seemingly minor, like that one simple supplement, maybe taken correctly with a bit of fat at breakfast, could create such huge necessary ripple effects across your entire health landscape. That right there is the power of the deep dive.